Hello everybody. I have something pretty cool to share with you. This little device is called the MIOPS Splash. I managed to get one before the tariffs kicked in, so I am really just getting a chance to get comfortable with it. So the setup I have here today is this flash, or this splash unit is mounted on top of a magic arm, which is attached to my little Amazon stand. I have a glass beaker of water underneath it that is filled, as you can see, pretty close to the brim. I have right next door, I have my strobe. This is a 1200 joule flashpoint strobe. The controller is down there on the floor. I have the Nikon camera with the 105 millimeter macro lens right here, and a flash trigger on the top. I have a 2.5 millimeter camera connection, or camera control cable, coming out and going into the front of the camera. And so this means that when I initiate a drop from this unit, it will wait a defined amount of time before initiating or telling the camera to take a shot. Now it's probably not entirely ideal because I have a wireless trigger from the camera to the strobe. And what I'm finding is that seems to inject a little bit of variability in when the actual image is captured. So it's actually not bad. It's within, probably plus or minus 2 or 3 milliseconds. But when you're talking about a drop of water, trying to catch it right at a very precise point, that actually makes a pretty big difference. So I've got it all dialed in here. One thing one little trick I noticed is that it's kind of difficult to make sure that your camera is focused on this exact spot that the drop will hit the water. And what I came up with was using a little marker. I would trigger a drop, hold the marker where the drop hit, and then use the autofocus on the camera to focus on the very tip of the marker. That seemed to work relatively well. So the other thing to note is this is a very, very small distance. It's from the sensor to the drop, you're probably looking at maybe 14 inches or so. So it's pretty small. I have the camera set to f40. Actually, it's f36. I think f36 is as small as it goes at this range, which is still pretty small. Gives us the largest amount of range. Unfortunately, in this sort of situation, you can't do anything like focus stacking. So we just have to kind of roll with it. So the next thing to point out is that this splash controller is controlled through a mobile app. And this mobile app, again, comes from MIOPS. It has really two main settings. One is how long it lets the water accumulate at the tip, so basically your drop size, and then the delay from when the drop leaves the tip until the camera is triggered to take an image. And so right now I have the drop size set to 35 milliseconds, and I have the delay for the camera trigger at 65 milliseconds. So let's go ahead and see what happens when I trigger it. And then we'll take a look at this. And you can see there is absolutely nothing. So let's try one more time. that. So one thing one thing I've learned through experimentation is if you have the camera in a review mode and then I trigger it, it has to pull the camera out of review mode before triggering the shutter, which causes a significant amount of delay. So right there you saw that it was pretty late. So let's see what that one looks like. Yeah, right there we have a nice drip right above the water. Same thing again. So it's pretty consistent. So what I'm going to do now is up the delay to, let's say, 70 milliseconds. Take it out of review mode. Hit the button. Let's see what we get. Oh, and that is exactly what I was hoping for. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Well, I hope you like my little review of this device. I'm still trying to figure out how to best use it. It's pretty cool. Oh, one thing I didn't say is that I put these white cards on the back and the side, and that seems to give it a much more consistent light. If I didn't do that, it really wouldn't be well illuminated. So I'm gonna play around with different color backgrounds and we'll see what we come up with. So thanks for watching. Bye.